All right, Alien, Romulus, or Romulus. I haven't heard anybody else say the word. Basically, I only heard somebody in one review say Romulus, so I'm gonna say it like that. This to me, movie of the year. I said it, movie of the year. Incredible. Every single time I watched this movie, every time in the movie theater, I was right there, tense for what was gonna happen. Were they gonna make it? Were they gonna actually survive? This was a great movie. The whole time I haven't been this year seeing a movie and thinking, what's actually gonna happen? Are they gonna actually escape? The moment where Kay, the lady who actually gives birth to that creepy looking, crazy looking human type alien towards the end of the movie, insane type of movie right there. Ridiculous the way they actually made that character. I don't know why I thought it looked like the engineer from Prometheus, like a combination of the engineer from Prometheus. I love Prometheus and the xenomorph. But I was insane when it came to the screen and she's right there in the corner crying and she's like, get this off of me. And her stomach just gets huge and she's putting out a massive looking egg from that alien, just like when it comes to the xenomorphs. But then you don't see anything. Something like just crawls or something. It kind of just moves into the floor. And it looks like a baby, a white baby, right? Then I think it's, was it Ray? Rain. That's her name, right? She's incredible on this movie. Rain, I think, is looking at her because she's asking for help, Kay. And then when she turns around and you see that massive looking alien human engineer type xenomorph, if you haven't seen Prometheus, go look at how the engineers look, which I think is like the coolest looking ones, to be honest. That Prometheus scene where the engineer is fighting the alien is crazy. I love Prometheus, but Kay is in shock and that alien looking thing just gets closer to her and starts looking at her like I thought it was gonna kiss her. That's crazy, creepy type of stuff. It didn't even kill her. Maybe it's because it knows that that's what gave birth to it. Crazy, and kids just like, get it off of me, get it off of me. I had to go to that because that's what I remember. That's actually the last part. Man, you gotta watch this. Andy, which is one of the actors from Industry. There's a lot of crazy scenes on Industry that I don't like, but I like the overall show when it comes to the finance. Andy's amazing on that show when it comes to his acting ability, and he was great here. And mind you, since it's been a long time since I've seen Covenant, since I've seen even Prometheus, I did actually see the first Alien after I saw those two, ironically. And I thought it was great for its time for sure. Obviously, the graphics are different, but considering reading that this is in between the first and the second, the James Cameron Aliens, it's interesting to see how great this looks, how every single scene right here is amazing. The way they're in space and she's trying to save herself from that human alien type version that I keep mentioning. But I gotta get back to Annie because basically she calls him her brother because that's what her father had before he passed. And the command for him was to take care of Rain, do what's best for Rain. And it's great to see how she changes it up and says, do what's best for Rain and Andy. Give that command, what's best for each other. Because Andy, basically her brother, is not actually a human. It's an android AI, whatever you want to call it, a robot. But man, do I love his character, the way they switched him up when that professor doctor, that's also like an android, is crushed right there because they get to the, I'm going to call it spaceship because I don't remember the actual name. They're trying to fly away from their country, let's say country, their planet, whatever they are at. Mind you, English isn't my first language, so I'm just going to call it that. They're getting away from they're basically treating them like slaves and hard labor without good pay. And she actually completed her hours to get away from there. They want to go to where the sun is actually shining and have a new life, right? Andy can actually go because he's an android. He has a limit set, supposedly. That's what I've understood from the movie, right? That's actually what happens. So She realizes this company isn't gonna actually let me get away from here because I completed my hours and they just put the limit higher. So she goes with these friends that she used to work with and be with, and they have this idea of getting out because they know that there's like this stranded spaceship where they could get the machines, man, I forgot how you say cryons in English. It has that technology where they freeze you for that time of the years. They gotta wait like 9 years to get to where they want to go. But the great thing about Andy is that android, other one that stayed on the ship, they go to try to get these devices. He's telling him you got to complete the mission. This is what actually happened around this period to these other people. The whole xenomorph story, they haven't seen them yet. They see the, I should say the names and just look it up. I call them like the babies that actually get into your face. It's front of cover in the movie for this one. And that's how they actually give birth to the aliens, right? But the interesting thing is the commands are actually switched for Andy. And Andy's actually trying to complete the mission this professor has. And it's crazy because now he's not paying attention to Rain, to Tyler, to anybody else, to Kay. And he's being more like objective about what he has to do. But as this happens, and he's being rebooted, because they put, she tries to fix his settings so that they could actually open around these doors and all that. Well, these things just come out of nowhere, right? And they start getting into the face of Kay and to the other people, Tyler, Jorn. And it's crazy because they get into Kay's. That's why she actually starts giving birth to the xenomorph. But no. The first one they get to is the Asian actress. Navarro is the name in the movie. She's the first one. So actually, Jorn is trying to freeze the tail of that creature so that she could actually survive. But the android thing starts saying, the one that's all broken up, the professor that's right there, lost and stranded on this spaceship, or however you want to say it, he says there's a 60-40% chance that she's already fucked up. That the alien basically already implanted the baby alien type. The xenomorph is going to come out and you're fucked. So you got to take the emotions out of this, be logical, and tell the humans, Andy, that they need to leave her stranded right there. Close it. Shut her down, kill her, whatever has to happen, basically. Of course, Andy tells him that, and Jordan is like, fuck you. Pushes him, I think is what happens, or he shoots him maybe, I don't remember. He pushes him and Andy's like, fuck. Because Andy, he starts having a seizure on his machinery when it comes to whatever happens to him if they hit him hard. So Raina's like, why are you being a dick to him, blah, blah. And apparently Jordan had a problem with some other robot before about what happened to his family. But either way, they're there trying to save, Tyler's there, everybody's there, trying to save Navarro. Well, they messed up. Especially Kay, because they leave Navarro with Kay. And she's like, oh shit. When she starts to see that thing pop out, they show how it's vibrating and the heart just enlarges and everything else. Boom, it pops out of her chest, I think it's what happens, right? And then you see the xenomorph, it's like, oh shit, shit's about to get real. That's when, mind you, Rain and everyone else that's with Andy, I think it's Tyler, now they're like, okay, we got to try to find something, get out of here and try to save ourselves, right? So they got to go through this path, but right there are the creatures that impregnate the aliens. They're all there around where the door is. So they're messed up, and Andy's like, you figured out, speaking to the professor, that if you manage to be at the same temperature as the room, you could actually pass by without them noticing, because all they do is they don't have eyes, right? So they sense you by heat and by sound. So be quiet, shut the fuck up, and don't make noise while you're crossing here. And at the same time, level your pressure, your blood pressure, and keep the room temperature at the same as your body. Your body is the same as the room. What happens? Kay is actually starting to call Tyler because of what happened to Navarro, where the xenomorph pops out already and she's scared and all this. And Tyler's trying to control himself. And that's when Andy since Kay is stressed out because she's seeing something pop out of Navarro's chest, she's like, oh shit. So you could actually hear it through the phone. And of course, the creatures actually hear it. And Andy's like, run. That's all he says because he knows, oh no, we made too much noise. We were halfway there. Rain actually sees like a dead, I don't know if it was dead android or a dead human. I don't remember, but it was a dead creature, object, human, or android, whatever you want to call it. Not creature, it was actually human or android. Human-like looking. And then that almost scares them, but they don't scream or anything, so they've leveled and the creatures don't actually notice it. But then that call that Tyler has, that's why Andy says run. And they start running because the creatures are following them. Like, oh shit. They managed to save Andy. Actually closes the door right on time for Tyler to get in at the same time as he slides. And he's like, you could have basically shot my head off. He's like, well, I timed it perfectly this time. So Andy has a different demeanor when his chip was changed for just to complete the mission. He's no longer just caring about Rain. All right, I'm back. So my battery's back to life. And what happens is they close the door. They actually find like this, I'm going to call it antidote looking. I'm not going to try to look the names right here right now. I just watched this movie 3 days ago. So it's like that black liquid. And the professor actually starts giving information about it. They find some guns. They get it. They actually see a video of a rat being like brought back to life because this is the next step of evolution according to the scientist. Android looking human that was in the ship. And he's talking about how humans need this. We need to complete the mission. And look at how the rat is back to life. But when they actually leave with the guns, the rat actually just has something pop out of it. Basically like the xenomorphs. And it's interesting to see how this goes back to how Kay then gives birth to what looks like a combination of a xenomorph and a human. Or looks like even like the engineer, but just creepier. Not as appealing to look at. Scarier if you want to use that word. And that's what probably happens to the rat. Also, mind you, looking at that video, I don't remember if the rat was actually there or it was just a video. But wouldn't something else, wouldn't like that rat thing have been on the ship? Probably was just a video, because not, they would have gone back to the fact that whatever popped out of the rat also would have attacked them. We only saw the K human-like creature that came out of K, the woman, towards the end. That's the only thing that attacked Rain at the end. So, man, Kay has it really bad because she's trying to escape from, before she even gets impregnated and all that, she's trying to escape from the xenomorph, right? Because Jorn just starts, the guy she was with that was trying to help Navarro, he starts like shooting this electric thing into the big looking, you know, like how the bees have that thing that encapsulates them? Well, the xenomorphs, you know how they have a huge thing and then they pop out of there too. So he just starts using this weapon that's electric to try to like shut it off. It does nothing. Plus the acid just starts burning him, and Kay's like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna leave you around. I told you to come and stop messing with it, but you messed up. That's when the whole call thing happens. So now Kay is trying to escape from the xenomorph, and Tyler and Rain are okay with Andy, but Andy isn't opening the door for Kay because he says that's what the xenomorph in the back is waiting for. If we open the door, Kay comes in and the xenomorph comes in and we all die. So if he doesn't open the door, that's when the xenomorph gets his tail and boom, puts it right through Kay. And Tyler is seeing this and he starts screaming. Rain starts screaming and she even slaps Andy because, like, why would you do this? You're cold-hearted. And that's when Andy says the thing of, like, you who were going to leave me behind, because Rain lied to him and didn't tell Andy that if you're an AI, you can't go to the other planet. So that was cold-hearted and savage to bring it back. I like this whole thing about it because then Kay, you think she's dead by this point if that massive tail just fucks you up by a xenomorph. But they find her. They manage to find her to try to save her. Obviously, it doesn't end up working out because she got impregnated. But between all this, you start to see then when Tyler dies, I forgot how he died. Oh, yeah, a lot of xenomorphs start popping out and Tyler dies, right? Unfortunate. He was a good character, but it is what it is. Rain is like the main one for sure. So she's with Andy. She's trying to make it through. And this crazy doctor scientist starts to see they're not doing the objective mission because Rain changes the chip on Andy's face to just taking care of themselves as she saves him. And he's like, well, it was good. You guys did a good effort, but we got to complete the mission, so I'm sorry. There's low chance that you're going to make it alive. Thankfully, they do make it alive. They have to, like, shut down the gravity, so the xenomorphs are, like, floating, and they're floating too, and she starts just firing with the little ammo she has left. She manages to kill all the xenomorphs, of course. Plot armor, right? But at the same time, got to avoid the acid that's floating around, so Andy follows her too, and they manage to avoid it. Great scenes with the xenomorphs. I love the CGI throughout this entire thing for the creatures that crawl, for the xenomorphs, for that weird looking alien. Everything was amazing. You feel like you were right there in space with them. It was that tense, in my opinion. So then what happens is, right when they survive, they get into the spaceships and all that happens. This is where Andy, unfortunately, he gets messed up because he gets freezed. She has to turn like that. What happened? She turned something out about, that thing that freezes you up. So she had to freeze all the xenomorphs. Andy got frozen too. And she has to, like, boom, put her astronaut suit, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, she looked like those suits from Interstellar, from every space movie. So she puts it on and she actually manages to survive. But she's over here then having to deal with that crazy human-looking creature, right? This was my favorite part, aside from the xenomorphs and how she kills the xenomorphs. One part, too, that part where Andy actually shoots the xenomorph and that big thing just falls and kills the xenomorph and Rain survives. I thought Rain might have died right there, because why did the alien, the xenomorph that just came out of nowhere, just stay looking at her? That's a plot armor right there for sure, because he could have just, like he did to Kay, boom, and killed her. Maybe Rain does something that we don't know about. Maybe she has some connection there. Plot armor for sure, because that was enough time to kill Rain. But of course, Andy saves her with the gun. Starts firing and squashes that xenomorph. So that's when Andy's still alive, quote unquote, right? So he gets frozen up and Kay now is by herself. And that huge human-like alien pops out from Kay's body. And Rain is trying to survive this thing. This is as tense as it got, because I thought it was over once they killed the xenomorph and Andy killed it. But nah, it got even tenser. So we're back here and she's trying to survive and trying to avoid this thing. The best scene is when the space ship they're in just pops. And I'm in the movie theater and you don't hear anything. It just goes blank sound. The directing here was amazing. They make no sound. So it sounds like when your ears pop, like boom, because that whole thing just opened for the spaceship. Like when that Boeing plane lost a door type shit. Like it just broke. And you see that she's in space and she's trying to hold on. You think, oh shit, this alien looking creature, xenomorph, probably just went with the whole air flying, right? But out of nowhere, a jump scare happens and he pops out with his head. I'm like, oh shit. So I just realized it. That was a great moment. That was a perfect jump scare. Incredible timing. The way they did that whole thing. I love how they actually directed this movie, man, because that was one of the most intense scenes, and that looked beautiful. The way she's just hanging right there with the astronaut suit, and you're seeing the planet she's around, and that whole thing about they're gonna hit like something that's rotating, also something else, some object. But you see, I'm gonna say it looks almost like a moon. Of course, it's a planet they're in or something. It just looks amazing in space, and she's floating right there. She's trying to hang on. She's trying to fight this alien-looking human xenomorph, whatever it is, whatever you even call it. I just keep calling it that. And she's trying to stray away from it. That jump scare scene where he pops out right into your face in the movie theater was amazing. The good thing was I didn't see it with so many people in the movie theater, so I got to experience it and get immersed. She finally survives, and I think she just says, fuck you or something, like, motherfucker. I don't even know what she said, but she's like, finally I survived all this, right? Plot armor for sure, because out of everybody, she's the one that survives it, but it is what it is. I liked it. And she manages to get back up. I don't know what happens at how she managed to close it. I think it stayed open or something. I don't know what happened. Maybe she got away from that part and the doors closed. Either way, she survives. She finds Andy. She puts him in the cryo machine, Creon or whatever the name is, that freezes you. She says, I'm going to fix you. And the movie ends. I don't remember something else happened or not. But that was a great, great movie. Liked everything about it. Incredible, incredible. I think this is the best alien movie I've seen. Recent time with the graphics and everything. Tied with Prometheus to me. Prometheus and Alien Romulus right here. Best ones. Man, I did watch Covenant, but I can't remember if I liked it as much as this. I'm thinking I didn't, because if not, I would remember better. Last time I thought about Covenant, I thought I didn't see enough of the Xenomorphs, looking back. But maybe I'm wrong. But when it comes to this one, great, great action, great build-up. Enough of the build-up, then enough of the Xenomorphs, then enough of the alien human-looking thing. Enough of the creatures and their backstory, of the android, Andy too, the one in the spaceship that got the professor doctor guy, everything. So Rain was good, Tyler, everybody.